As you guys know, my name is Candace, and what's going on right now is I left my job back in September. Today, I believe it's December 12th. Um, I am I've been telling everybody lately, I feel like God tricked me into quitting my job. I knew it was like an act of faith. I knew like God was like pushing me to get off my job. But I didn't know what it would look like. And of course, he tells us all the amazing stuff that's going to happen prior to it happening. But then we don't see kind of like those dry moments or like those moments where you're like, wait, what is going on? And so for me, it's really a walk of faith. I I definitely feel secure. I definitely feel like I know like God's got it all, covered. He's got me, all the steps that he wants me to take. Like he has all that stuff lined up, but I just kind of don't know because I'm just going one step at a time, and that's kind of all he asks us of us. Um, but yeah, no, I just feel like it's like knowing all the amazing things that God says He's gonna do. Like I'm still standing strong and knowing that His word is still faithful and everything that He told me will happen. Actually will occur. I am learning, especially because I just recently left the previous church that I was at. I'm really learning to experience God outside of the context of religion and outside of the context of, you know, just religiosity, really. I'd been in church my entire life, and then I got exposed to a church that did things a little differently, and I thought that was the end all be all, and it wasn't the end all be all to who God is. And really being able to come outside of that and strip myself of all these ideologies that maybe have been placed on me about God has been really redeeming and freeing. And I almost was in a place where, like, I was telling my friend, like, I feel like I'm a bad Christian or I'm doing something wrong or things aren't going the way, did I do something wrong? And it's like, no, like you didn't necessarily do anything wrong. It's just a matter of like God requires more of you, in a sense that he wants to take you deeper. And for me, that was like a really big deal because I feel like the place where I came from, it more so was like, if you're not deep in the things of God, or if someone said, God wants to take you deeper, then it's kind of a like, well, if you're not deeper, then what have you been doing? And it kind of made me feel like I was doing something wrong in my relationship with God. But the most important thing that I learned, even in this process of quitting my job, is to lean on God and to trust in Him and trust Him above all else and to seek Him above anything and anyone else. Like God is our God. And when you begin to place things like church or, other people before, God, and when you're running to other people before you run to God, that literally is like idolatry. It's like you should be led by the things of God. And so for me, it has been really redeeming to really lean on God, to hear His voice, to know what it is that He's saying, and to act on it, and to do it without fear. Because, people say all the time, like, Noah was looking like an idiot when he was building a doggone, ark, and it wasn't no rain. And so a modern day, version of that, I feel like is where I'm at. Like, I'm over here, I quit my job, ain't no rain. Like, ain't no rain. When people be like, make it rain, make it rain, ain't no rain. So it's literally like been an extreme faith walk, and I've seen like the miraculous things of God just happen even in my year, even this entire year. Like I asked God to pay for like me to get my basement redone and all this other stuff, and like freak accidents happened to where insurance covered it, which was like amazing. And then even just like random stuff now, like a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, like really matters. Like random story, I bought a fridge from Best Buy because my fridge broke right when I quit my job, so that's like a $1,000 expense basically. And I bought an ice maker, and I bought it back in October, and it's now December. It's taken 2 months for Best Buy to come back and forth to my house to like figure stuff out, and just nothing was working with getting this ice maker installed. Long story short, they couldn't figure it out how to get it installed. They installed it, but they didn't have water coming to my refrigerator so that I could have ice. So they were like, you know what? How much did you pay for it? They refunded me the money for the ice maker, and they let me keep the ice maker, which was like crazy to me because it just showed me that God has provision for us in places where we would have never expected it. And you might have to go through a little bit of trouble or, a little bit of pain to get to that place, but God has provision for you. And it really paid off for me to be so nice to those people at Best Buy. Like, every time something went wrong, like, I was like, okay, I'm just not going to go off on them, or I'm not going to catch an attitude, because the second you catch an attitude, like, you're not going to have favor with them. So, and I'll be honest and say that's not always my personality. Like, I can get irritable really quickly sometimes. And so I was just surprised that I was like, okay, well, you guys have been at my house, like, I think 4 or 5 times since I purchased this refrigerator, and nothing is working. However, like, I just want to know, can I get compensated for it? And it was one of those things where it was like, I asked for it, but because I was so polite, they were like, you know what? Here's the check. We'll just write you a check for the amount of the ice maker. And I know that's so simple, but it just is one of those things that reminds me that God's got me covered, that, at the end of the day, like, if I don't work, I don't eat. Yeah, there's that mentality, but I also realize that I serve a God that is just so amazing that he's not just going to let me sit out here and be like high and dry. And that's not me being irresponsible with my finances. That's just me having crazy faith. That's me just building an ark even when it's not raining. So I'm just excited for where God has me, but I will say that it's a journey and it's rough. And there's days where I'm like sitting there crying like, God, you told me to do this. Like, what is going on? So I just can't wait to be on the other side and to really share with you my journey on the other side of all of this. And it's cold outside in December. I've got this one because I'm about to go drive Uber. That's kind of what I do on the side. Not kind of, that is. And I think a lot of times people want to sugarcoat like the process. No, this is my process. Like, and it's interesting coming from a position where, I did have a 6-figure salary, benefits package, whatever. But it's the sacrifice that I had to make to, get where I want to go. So just wanted to share my journey and be like super transparent. Don't know if I'll ever post this anywhere. I'll probably just use this for inspiration for myself. Who knows? I don't know. But I just know that God is faithful and that he will do everything that he's promised, including making me a millionaire. Whoop, 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 whoop. That part's exciting, but this part ain't. See y'all.